Before we begin, please be advised that this show may contain some adult themes and language that may not be suitable for all listeners. Now, onto our show. Welcome to a very special episode of the Sippin Saga Society, where we cover histories, mysteries, and overall weird-ass shit. But today, we're going to be covering the history of America, but like through a different lens. My name is Karina, and joining us today, we have a combo of old and new friends. Our friend Nevada has taken some time off, but joining us today, we have our very good friend Christina, and new to the show, our friend Evan.
Yay!
Yay. Thanks for having me.
So I'm very excited for all of us to get to know each other. But before we begin on the hard stuff, Evan, what are you sipping?
Oh, a Bing energy drink.
What the hell is a Bing?
I don't know.
I've never
It
seen
looked
that.
the least bad of all the energy drinks, because they're all like loaded with a bunch of stuff. And this one is made with fruit juice, but it
Oh,
has
okay.
caffeine and B vitamins, so it's less bad. It's probably still bad.
If there's anything that's American, okay, I asked everybody to bring an American drink. It's an energy drink, honestly.
Exactly.
Honestly, yeah.
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 All right. Christina.
So originally, Zach was gonna get me a red, white, and blue Smirnoff, but they had red out. So he got me the next best American flavor, which is pink lemonade.
Yeah, that's the lemonade of America.
But he told me, he was like, if you want a real American drink, he was like, just get you a Coke. And so we do have that.
You know what? Okay, so I did a poll on the internet. By that I mean I asked everyone that follows me on Instagram what the most American drink was. And this will be our Mug Monday for Monday, by the way. But it is my little table of what the responses were. So this is something I never even thought about, but they only have Dr. Pepper in the US. So I was going to actually tell you to bring a Dr. Pepper because they only have Dr. Pepper in
That
the United
is so
States.
funny. I have that at my house
That's
too, girl.
true.
I
So
know because you love the Dr.
I
Pepper.
do.
But some of
It's
my
true.
I mean, it's a very American drink. Like my uncle used to ask us to bring it with us when
Yeah,
we would visit in
I
Mexico.
have some here now.
Everyone has Dr. Pepper. But some of my favorite responses were milk.
Ooh.
Ah,
I could
I
see
know.
that, but yeah, I'm not a
And
not
I
a milk
know.
girly. I never grew up
I'm
on it,
not.
so
I even with
Yeah.
cereal, I like pour it, honestly. I barely drink it. I just have it to like wet the cereal.
yeah, and that's it.
It's
I
like for
feel like as
decoration.
an adult, you shouldn't really have a need
To
to
be
drink
drinking milk,
milk. Like it's weird to me.
it's almost like you should get your nutrients from foods and not just liquids.
Yeah, something
I don't
like
know.
that. Yeah.
Um, but the other fun one was microwave tea. I love that
Oh
one too.
Lord,
Yeah. And I was like, that is so American.
that
Like,
really
the
is.
British aren't. Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
That's not a beverage, though. It's a way of preparing a beverage.
It's a specific type of beverage because it's not right.
It's true. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I didn't know what to get, so I got this fun wine in a box. And look at
Nice.
it. Look at it. It's got a Liberty Bell. It's got Pinot Grigio, a little stripy moment. And it's American. It says proudly serving American. It's got a lot of
That
stars on
looks
it.
very American.
It
It
is,
does.
yeah,
It checks out.
and it's in a box. And I feel like box wine is also very American.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for
Like you do
sure.
not, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the French aren't like, maybe I'm wrong, but I've never seen them with their boxes of wine. They usually just have the bottles. Anyway, I'm gonna taste this.
Agreed.
I don't know what it's like. I'm just drinking it out of the box. I wanted the real American experience. Mm. It tastes like wine. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna go get Dr. Pepper.
Christina. All right.
Quick intermission.
Now Christina's back.
I'm back. I don't know if anyone like ever, because I know that we'd only record like face like visuals certain episodes, but and Evan, just so you know, if anyone knows anything about me, I'm always eating during these.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
am constantly snacking or eating. So I literally have tater tots and a corn dog in front of me.
Hell
So
yeah.
just be
Yum.
prepared. I'm just gonna be munching over here while I'm listening.
It is
Yum.
funny because then Christina's response, like your face is always so funny, and you're like
Yeah.
usually like mid bite, and it
Yeah.
it,
And
it
I'm always
tickles me.
reacting. Yeah.
It really does tickle me. I love it. Okay. All right. Everyone ready? Settled?
Ready.
Okay, cool. Okay. So we are in weird, fucked up times, and we all know what's happening. And like honestly, I'm very scared. But I'm also not hopeless. And so, in an effort to spread information and to help ease divisions as best we can, I'm here to tell a tale of a different America than the land of the free and the home of the brave. This America was founded not on the pilgrims and Pocahontas, but on the lives of the people they exploited and tried to eradicate. And literally right now, the United States has approved a stupid amount of money to ICE to continue to terrorize those that they don't value as human. Just for the sake of division, honestly. So, using the books Trash by Cedar Monroe, White Trash by Nancy Isenberg, and Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, we will go through the history of America in a way that most of us haven't heard. I'm not sure what history can do, honestly. Like, I think we all sit around right now and we're thinking, like, what can we do to make the world a little bit better in the face of so much hate? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know what me telling y'all history stories is going to do for the world, but I tried to look at myself and said, what do I want to give the world? And I think looking at our history and looking at what has continued to divide us is really our only solution to any of the problems that we have today. And I think that we need to work on ways of having less hate because we haven't heard of history in this way. We've heard through a lens that has been the biggest propaganda just to keep us in our divisions. So I really think that knowledge is power because they count on us being ignorant. They count on us hating each other and being blinded by that hate so much that we ignore the injustices happening even to ourselves.
Or believing every first thing that we're told and thinking that that's the right thing and
Yeah, forever for the rest of
not
your
digging
life.
deeper. Yeah.
Yeah, not working on making yourself more informed, a better person. Like, I don't understand that because that's not my reality, but it's not my journey to be on. I mean, okay, let's be real. Whenever Trump became president, I lost my shit because I am a Mexican woman who can read and I could, see the writing on the wall and I knew this is exactly what was going on. And I'm scared and I'm angry, right? And so I want to blame somebody. And so I decided I was a woman living in Arkansas. And so I blamed all of the rednecks, idiot, backwoods people because of like they're the ones voting for this man, right? And I'm sitting there and I am hearing this voice saying to me, more hate is not going to be the answer to this. Hate is what has given us this. So let us be the opposite of that because that's all we have.
I'm gonna go down like a little rabbit hole, but we won't go any further than that. But everyone knows that politicians are amongst the worst people on this planet, right? And that they are liars because they're giving you this false facade of, what they can or will do or whatever. And if anyone knows anything about Dante's Inferno and the seven layers of hell or whatever, politicians are literally almost right by freaking Judas.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like
And
the
so
worst
the
of the
worst.
worst. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
And
and literally
so
that is it because it's like right now, I was trying to explain to somebody recently the they were like, how does Trump have so much power? How could the United States give one man so much power? And I was like, well, they didn't because technically they're supposed to be checks and balances. But because of what happened forever ago, because of X, Y, and Z, the Republicans took over. The Democrats did nothing and took no steps to prevent this from happening and have
mhm,
continued to take no steps to
mhm.
protect the American people. All they've done is ask us for money.
And they were never for us.
They have never been for us.
They were never for us.
We need to be for us.
Yeah.
We
Well,
as a community need to be
I
for
think I
us.
touched on this in one of the other podcasts, I believe, that or one of the other episodes that we
Mm,
talked about. But it was like crazy because because you're saying that, it's like people don't realize like whenever I told you, Evan, my husband, he is a former Marine and whatnot, and he reads into a lot of what's going on in the world and whatever. But I didn't realize how much uneducated I was, right? And he was telling me about the whole Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, like obviously me ignorantly, and I will hold accountability for that, ignorantly speaking. I was like, it's just guns. It's just whatever. Like, why is it such a big deal? And he was like, it's more than just that. And I was like, what do you mean? And he had basically in the, shorter words, he told me that if the government takes that away and they take our guns, the right to bear arms, a part of it is if the government decides to turn against us, it is to protect ourselves from them. And that was the scariest thing that I ever heard.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
it's true. Like, it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It
But,
is.
it's so like surreal to find myself like I used to be very like anti-Second Amendment and
Hmm.
like not anti, but like for better regulations. And now that Trump has been reelected and after January 6th, I find myself supporting the Second Amendment. Like
Right,
it's
because I
just
need to keep me
wild.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, I'm gonna reel us back
But
in because I know
yeah,
we could go on
but
forever.
that's just so scary. Like, because at the end of the day, like I said, they're not none of them are for the people, and
Mm-mm.
that's absolutely terrifying.
It is. And we're living in that reality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing is that I had to really take a step back and be like, what can I do? Because I can't live in fear and I need to find something. So that being said, and we will revisit that topic, but I will be starting some community circles online to provide a space for us to be held in community and supported. And we'll be providing like some somatic breathing things or like stuff to regulate our nervous system or journaling, just a place where you could be supported in community and not be accountable to anybody else and just have a moment to meditate and sit with yourself and say, hey, I can't today. I have that group. So if you want more information on that, definitely email me or text me, whatever, and let me know, and I will find that. Or if you find our social media, sip and saga underscore society, on any platform, you should be able to find us, and I'll let you know where to go. So my topic today is because I read a lot of this information and it made me hate my neighbor a little bit less. It made me less angry because when you see that we're all like victim to the like what the propaganda has made
Mhm.
of us, it makes it easier to hate less.
Yeah, to
I'm
have more
not
compassion.
I'm not yes, exactly. And I'm not saying people don't need to be responsible for what they've done, but like understanding like we're all in this boat kind of together.
Yeah, and people have been convinced to vote against their own interests, like their
Mhm.
best interests. It's been like, yeah, a propaganda campaign.
Yeah, for the rich.
Yeah.
Yep. So for the next few episodes, we will be primarily focusing on the economic classes and how financially the poor, and specifically the white poor, have played their own role in the America of today. And we need to know about this. We need to know about why the country is the way that it is. We can't keep ignoring these things. So this is not to say this is the only division in America, and we will definitely be covering more of race relations. But the way that we view the poor is so instrumental to the division in this country. Is huge. And like I never realized how big it was until I read the book Trash by Cedar Monroe and I was like, "Oh crap, we're all fucked." So I will add the source notes because I used a few other resources in this in our episode notes. So The Declaration of Independence begins with the words most Americans know well. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are the words that many of us like to remember when we think of the United States. That myth of most people are able to succeed in obtaining quote unquote the American dream. But real talk, like who do you know that actually has a house? You know what I mean? Like most people don't own a home.
Mm-hmm.
Most millennials don't own a home.
And never will because of student loan debt.
Exactly. In
That is
20,
so crazy. I
yeah.
literally, both of y'all,
Mm.
literally had a coworker today. I overheard the conversation because they're talking loud. Literally, they were talking about debt and they were like serious, not serious. Like, oh, I bet I have more debt than you. Oh, I have more debt than you, like whatever, right? And then they were both talking and they were like, one of them literally, oh, well, I have 20,000 in student loan debt, blah, 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 blah.
When did this become a flex? Why are we
Yeah.
flexing that? I don't
Well,
imagine you go out get your nails done with your friend and you're like, I racked up $80,000 in credit
yeah.
card debt. Like what
Well,
the f
and then they
I
like were talking to my other coworker and they were like, "Oh yeah, I bet hers is more because she has a house." And I was just kind of like, "Dang, like what world do we live in?" But I mean that world, you know.
the world where everyone has debt, so they have to
Yeah.
continue working for the man forever and never get to retire because we're getting rid of Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
That world.
Yes. So we just joke about it. We lean in instead and are like, I bet I have more
This
debt
is
than you.
normal. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which
Okay,
is sad.
okay, let's go back. We're having those conversations in 2014. So who knows how many there are now? The United
Mm.
States had 813 billionaires, billionaires.
Oh, that pisses me off.
That's according to the website inequality.org. In 2023, according to a study by the University of California, Riverside, the fourth cause of death in America was poverty.
That's
That's
so sad.
disgraceful.
The
Yeah.
only other causes of death with higher death like numbers are heart disease, cancer, and smoking.
Which also disproportionately affects.
Oh my God, we should do an episode on smoking because that I had one of my favorite podcasts did an episode on smoking, and I don't think I can emotionally handle ranting about smoking.
Ooh,
Made me so
okay.
mad.
All right.
Uh, it is called, I'll need to find the podcast episode, but it's so good about smoking and it covers like all the bullshit that the fucking companies have done to exploit the poor people. And then when they couldn't keep exploiting the people of America, they moved their propaganda to poorer countries and like
Oh,
make kids start smoking and stuff so they'll continue to smoke for the rest of their lives. Yeah, it's horrendous.
but it's like that's such a real thing and it's so crazy.
Yeah,
Like, you know how like you meet someone's grandpa and he's like, "No, I've literally been smoking since I was like
poor.
6." Yeah. But like it's crazy how those habits start like even like my husband, he dips, right? And he's like weaned himself off. I'm really proud of him. And he like just does like the nicotine pouches for the most part. But like my jaw was to the floor when he told me that he was basically dipping at like 15, like 14, 15. And I don't
But
know, it's just like,
it's part of the culture.
but
It's
yeah, and
part
it's
of
just
what everyone in your vicinity is
is
doing.
doing, and I think it's just crazy because like, and Evan, like, I know that I don't know how much you and Karina have talked about just like her life but like the both of us grew up very sheltered. You know what I mean? Like anything that was close to being bad, we already got chastised for it. And like before we could even think about doing something bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like crazy because it's like I'm not around. I mean, like you said, I'm not around that. I'm not around people that are just, smoking. And we kind of were like eventually, like in middle school, junior high, like we had some friends that didn't make good choices, but it's like crazy because like me and Karina are sitting here like watching this girl drink at the age of 14, 15, and we're both sitting here like we'd be dead. You know what I mean? Like, and her mom is just willingly allowing her to do this. Like, it's just wild.
Yeah,
It's
and it is wild when you think about like the repercussions of this, like the lifelong, yeah. But once again, it's like the culture, and then it's like the culture of where you're at. And okay, so the show is Things That Keep Me Up at Night, and it's episode 7, and it's called How Do You Sell Death? And it's like cover up and conspiracies. So that's where they talk about cigarette companies, and it's so messed up.
well, because that's
Like,
like legal technically. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's legal, and I mean, so is alcohol. Like,
yeah, but they're both terrible for you.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm drinking it right now, but
What was the name of it?
things that keep me up at night, and I can send it to you too. So when I first heard the fact about, I mean, this is a 2023 study. Like, it's not that old that death was, one of the biggest causes of death in America. I was like, well, where are the poor dead people? Like, that sounds messed up, but like, you wonder, where are these people? But I feel like they're really easy to miss when we really don't want to see them. And I mean, I live in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and we have a lot of homeless people because we're a warm place. And I think it's so easy to look, and I know I grew up with this culture, looking at homeless people and being like, they're flawed in some way.
Yes. Yeah,
When it's like, is it the people or is it the system?
exactly.
And, I said, when it comes to the poor, we have become accustomed to death because we feel that they deserve it. And that's the narrative, right? Like, if you can't pull yourself up, you can't work hard enough, you can't X, Y, and Z, you're not enough. You're gonna die, you deserve it.
Yeah, and the working class has always been marginalized and compared to like rodents and vermin and
Yes.
like from the founding of our country, like the all the
The
ways of
labor.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
so,
it's yeah, in our blood as a country.
well, I mean, you're either a worker making minimum wage, barely making it, or you have to join the army or the police or
Yeah,
whatever to be part of this maintaining the system.
exactly.
We're continuously brutalized by policy, prisons, and church. And the worst part is the poorer you are, the more you are victim to these systems.
Hmm.
You die young, and then you get denied medical care, even when you have insurance, because they're always trying to find a way not to pay. Hashtag free Luigi. And then on top of all of that bullshit, we have race relations, keeping us separated from our neighbor. How is this system meant to be for the people? Because all I'm seeing is continuously shoving us down. But this is literally the country. This is what we've done. Well, not me, but, half of me, I guess. Yeah, because every white person who fails at being a good capitalist can always succeed because being white is better than being any person of color. And that's what gives them the power to continue to create segregation and separation. And that is what's so scary right now to white supremacists who truly believe that they are better and seeing their numbers go down and Hispanic numbers go up.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not related to what's going on right now at all. So, this is the real story of America and all the people we've sacrificed in the name of the American dream because we've ignored our truth for far too long and we need to talk about it. And honestly, I am not an expert in any of these matters, and I just read books and share them with you. But if any of this just gets you thinking a little bit differently about your neighbor who might be different than you, then like, or seeing those moments where you are being more prejudiced than you think you are, I think that we need to have more kindness and compassion for our neighbor and work on creating less division in our own circles, in our own community, because that's our only way out. Hate got us
That's the only
here.
way to fight back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is bridge community, build community, and
Hmm.
we
Melting ice.
are yeah, exactly melt
But also
melting
you can
ice.
you can punch a Nazi.
Yeah.
Nazi is not community.
No, hell no.
Exactly. I just want to reiterate that. I don't want you to think I have no violence towards Nazi policy because I will hit a Nazi.
I think everyone needs to.
Hmm. But America likes to forget the uncomfortable facts because they make us ashamed of what we have done. And we like to forget the ways we failed and the people that have died along the way. But we need to remember those because that's what got us here.
Well, and also the people who have been in control of the stories are the ones who are marginalizing all of these other communities.
Right. Well, yeah, it's just it's the same effort of continuously keeping the people down.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeping the segregation up, keeping the separation up, and keeping the people down.
Exactly.
So,
Rewriting
Well,
curriculums and maintaining this like myth.
exactly.
and it's so sad, like it's and crazy, like, and I know that every country like has their own, issues or whatever, but like speaking of curriculum and stuff, like one of my good friends is a teacher at a middle school, and she was actually telling me that like she was going to Japan here soon, and she was actually talking about like their education system and how they actually, when the children are small, they're not really teaching them like ABCs and one, two, threes and whatever. Like they're teaching them based on where they're at, um, age wise, like development stage. And she was like, they literally teach you like if your mom tells you to go to the grocery store, like, can you do that on your own? Like critical thinking and things like that, like situational based stuff. And like, do you know like what's in a healthy diet? And it's like, it's so crazy because it's like, if I would have been taught that, Cheez-Its and fruit snacks isn't a meal, then
You mean this isn't real fruit?
right, you know what I mean? This isn't real cheese, like or whatever, but it's just it's crazy because I mean, and to your point, it's like they just want to keep us dumb. They want to
Hamster
keep us
wheeling.
divided. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to see us all holding hands and singing Kumbaya, but it's like, I mean, if we're not for us, then who's for us? Like,
Exactly.
Exactly. That's why we have to be for each other in whatever
mhm.
capacity we have available to us and showing up in whatever way that works for you. Anyway, isn't it fun? It's so hard.
I'm already sad.
We haven't gone to Pocahontas, girl.
I know.
Okay. When you ask most people what class they are, a lot of people will say working class or middle class because the comfort of the middle class is a smokescreen to provide comfort and help us forget that the lower classes exist. So if you think you're like middle class, it's like, well, I'm not poor. I may live paycheck to paycheck and have $30,000 in debt more than my coworker, but I'm not poor. Like you know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of us live with we all know someone that lives out of their mean and they're like, why do you have this car? You don't live anywhere.
But also, I feel like there used to be more of an actual middle class where
Wait, no, yeah,
now
the middle
it's
class is
like,
dying.
yeah,
Most before, I feel like you used to know more people that could take overseas vacations, and that's how I range things. Like, you know
or
what I
like
mean?
just buy a house and support a family on one
One
income.
income.
I feel like middle class has become a pejorative now because it's so inaccessible.
Right, exactly. Because who can take a vacation and have savings and have a home and like the more and well and then okay, honestly, like literally me looking at my neighbors the other day, I've been watching this house be fully renovated and it's just like a few older people living in there and I'm like the idea of having the amount of money to buy a house and fully renovate it, regardless of the price of that house, is insane to me. And like I'm like, they had to have some money. And that's the thing is that the older generations definitely who do have this middle class, they are able to spend,
Right.
but it's because they lived in a different economy than we did.
Yeah.
Like Evan and I were literally, not you. My husband and I were
Evan number
literally,
two.
boy Evan, yeah. We're literally talking about, he was like, the kids these days think that they're going to be able to go leave college and have this job available to them. And that's not the case anymore. And they're like
No.
thinking they're going to be able to make like buttloads of money.
Hmm.
But it's like, will you though? Because then daycare is $2,000 like a week, some places. So when you look at those things, it's like, do you actually have a livable wage?
And that's what's crazy because, like, so, like, me and Zach are considered, right, per the tax bracket and our family size and whatever, we're considered middle class, let's just say. Not an upper or lower, let's just say we're in the middle. But like you said, we're living paycheck to paycheck. Even though we bought our house when the market was good, you know what I mean? Even with that, we have cars that are paid off. Um, but we still can't afford childcare. And it's like that's what gets you, right? Is oh, but you guys on paper, you make well enough
Mm-hmm.
to pay $2,000 for your kids. But if I'm basically like, and that's the thing about lower class, that's where they get you with that too, is if you're not struggling, you don't need help. Because my sister-in-law, who's a single mom, guess what? She gets a tax break on it. And
Right.
so even though she's putting money on it, or because she's a single mom and she's, technically her family is two people on one income or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
guess what she gets? She gets to go into Head Start for free because she's a single mom of a family of two or whatever. And it's just crazy how like that is figured or perceived because it's like, but for her, like, what's the caveat for her? She's like, I can't get a house because I can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
it's just her income. Like, it's just like everyone goes through their own struggles, but it's like, yeah, even at this point, it's like you said, just because I can pay my stuff and afford my bills and whatever, we're not taking extravagant vacations. We're not, we don't have a bunch in savings. We like our AC is out, and like our AC guy was like, yeah, I have a new unit for like $6,000. Yeah, because I have $6,000 laying around. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, I don't know. And even Zach was like, I don't know anyone right now that has $6,000 to
Oh,
just,
I know. And then
like,
and that's the reality is like, okay, we're middle class because we have a house essentially. We're middle, like we're upper, not poor, not outside yet, but like any of us, one accident, one long-term illness, like
mm-hmm,
you no longer have a home. You no longer, and then we are also out in the streets. I think that's
mm-hmm,
where like a lot of my, cause like everyday compassion moments are coming from because it's like, God, yeah, you can blame, like, you want to blame the drugs. Okay, well, let's talk about drugs. You know what I mean? Like, it is all the system created to do this to us. And it's like, you can't keep hating everybody for living in this world that we have created because we have created hell on earth. We did this. I mean, not me, but you know what I mean. I didn't do
Yeah.
this. Just to clarify.
You're
But
not
like,
taking responsibility for
I'm not taking any
the
responsibility. I'm
country.
just telling y'all the story. But yeah, even the stories of the beginning of America were written in such a way to shape a specific narrative that the founding fathers were trying to promote. It was written in their favor and it purposefully ignored the poor.
Mhm.
Like, literally, what stories of colonial America do you hear about the poor? You don't. They died. They didn't make it. We don't talk about those people because there are failures and we don't talk about that. We just talk about, like, oh, these rugged men just showed up and they were like, the woods is here. Let's kill everyone with blankets.
Oh, I laugh
I
because
laugh to
it's
not cry.
so exactly because it's so unreal that that's the actual history, like that we were sold such, we were so brainwashed, or they've tried to brainwash us so hard.
Yeah, it frustrates me because I'm like, where was all this information? They
Yeah.
just condensed and forgot literally all of the fucked up shit of colonization. I literally, okay, now I'm having a moment because I'm realizing, like, growing up, they do not explain to you how horrific
No, they don't.
colonization was.
They
They're
Don't
don't
just
they
like,
just start out
we
explain
just
talking
all of
about
the
showed
shit.
Columbus?
up, huh?
Don't they just start out talking about
They're
Columbus
just
and how
like,
he
he just
found,
showed
yeah.
Yes.
up. He was a friend. He showed up, was like, I got these blankets. Everyone died. Why am I talking like Trump right now?
Literally
It
how
was great.
how I remember learning about like America, literally, like was Columbus came, like that's the thing. You learn about the boat, you learn about everything else, the name of the boat, the whatever,
I
the
Yep.
know
Santa
fucking the
Maria,
name
the
of the boat.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then you hear that he goes and then he finds a native. You don't even hear about the natives. No one
Just some
educates
guy.
you about the natives, about the people that were already there.
Well,
And
Christina,
then
they were
they're like,
brown.
yeah. And then they end it with, well, they had Thanksgiving and there's
That's it.
America. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
No, we all know. We have seen the pilgrims. We've seen them with their buckles. It's so stupid. That's not what happened. They showed up and killed and raped
and the
people.
fact that they glorify it. You know what I
Yes, and make
mean?
it cute.
It's in
It's
every
fucked
school
up.
program. It's in,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
You make them act it out like the children.
And wasn't the very, very first Thanksgiving, air quotes, uh, with the like first settlers, wasn't it just like this like
We're
horrible
gonna come back.
storm
We're gonna
where
come
they
back.
all died?
We're gonna go to that. I don't know if there was a
Okay,
storm, but we're gonna talk about it. We will talk
perfect.
about the
yeah.
first Thanksgiving. That's one of my myths that build America.
See,
All
I'm
I love
right.
it.
blindsided because even Evan knows more than I do. So now I'm gonna
No,
be
girl.
extra sad because I don't know anything.
Well,
There's
that's why
just
we're
some like
here to learn
random tidbits,
together.
Yeah.
Learning together.
like
Woo.
the did you know Thanksgiving as a national holiday didn't start until the middle of the Civil War?
Stop stealing my facts, Evan. Let me finish.
Okay, okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So these myths were created to make the illusion of American exceptionalism. And we all have heard of it, like America's the best. America, bros. The flag is on all of our wine. Like, calm down, America. You're
Yeah,
just
like
really
these
racist and
colors
loud.
don't run and
They
all
should
of that.
run away and pay for their sins.
But it's like
Sorry, that didn't
crazy.
go anywhere. The wine is hitting.
Even my dad is like still sold on the American dream because like Evan, like my parents are first generation immigrants. And like my dad is still like to this day, like even though things are going south and he's like, I know this place sucks, but like how bad things are from the country that him and my mom are from, like I'm like for you to say that like this is still better, like I can't imagine what's going on anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah.
just crazy to me because I'm like me living in this reality, I'm like this is bad. What do you mean? Like what?
Well, and that's the thing though, it
Yeah.
hasn't gotten there yet. I feel like a freaking crazy woman because I'm always like, they're coming for us. But they are coming for us, and I am seeing it in real time. And every single time something happens, I'm like, I told you guys this. I literally told someone this last year, and they were like, no, people keep saying that they're his point, but they're not. He's not going to do that. And now I'm watching him do that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you
and
explain
so
that
and
now?
that's why I got mad, and I was like, we're going to talk about this because I'm an angry mom of the country, apparently. And I'm like, we will discuss this because we have to talk about our transgressions.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up here. But
Here we
but
are.
that I mean that's the thing because even Christina, even people I'm talking to are like, America would never do that. We're the land of the free and the brave and the blah 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, I love you. No, we are not.
Not
And let me tell you
anymore.
about it.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, but we cannot live in the fear. We have to do something with our passion and work. Even
And
if
I
it is
think,
just creating our home community, it's
right. And
work.
I think that's what's hard is like living in fear, but knowing how and where, like what you can do from what you can, right?
Exactly.
Like I may not be attending marches and, you know, whatever, but it's like what can I do to help or where can I help or and I mean, I know it's so hard because like everyone's like I'm only one person, you know what I mean? But I think it's just like I don't know, it's hard because
I actually had a
I've
conversation of about this with Nevada recently because I was feeling super, I have a lot of chronic pain and fatigue, and I can't
hmm
leave the house a lot. And so I couldn't go to the protest and I really wanted to go and I was feeling like shit about myself. And I literally, and she goes, we're all going to participate differently. We're all going to be able to show up differently. And I really had to take that to heart because my position may not be protesting. My body may not cooperate, but if I can just help inform a couple people, and even if it's just me telling you, Christina, this story and
hmm
you seeing other people in a different light and you feeling differently about marginalized people and being poor and like being, you know what I mean? Like, and seeing these things differently.
hmm
And if that is the only thing I do in this life,
That's enough.
that's my role, right? Like,
hmm
what I can do is what is important.
hmm
Mhm.
And even then, if all you're able to do is take care of yourself, you are important. That is important. Caring for yourself is huge. And like, if
Definitely.
that's all you can do that day, you did your part, you know?
And I think it's just hard though, because like living in fear, not living in fear, but like there's such a fine line between everything, right? Living in fear, um, not living in fear and facing what's happening, or not living in fear and being delusional. You know what I'm
Being
saying?
informed and being crazy.
Right, or whatever, like
So
Yeah.
what
it's
I have
just
taken to doing, because I have a lot of balls in this game, if that makes sense. I have a lot of feelings and I'm a very empathic person. I feel everything too deeply. It's been making me sick. So I've just taken off social media. I go on there to answer messages or promote the podcast. I'm trying to stay away. I need to keep myself functional,
yeah.
and it was breaking me, honestly. So I stay away. I look as much as I need to, and then I when I start scrolling and start doom going, I stop my brain and I'm like, you know what? I'm taking space because he's going to continue to do terrible things. And I don't see anyone stopping him, which I think is kind of fucked because aren't you supposed to protect the American people, Congress? But no, we're just going to protect our weird pedo ring.
All
So,
they're
You know,
billionaires.
you mentioned that, but like he
no, it's
does
true.
have the
It's
Epstein
it's no,
files.
that's what I'm
Like
saying. Like
he's
these
the
are
last
facts.
person in the world who
These
should
are
have those.
facts.
Yeah,
Like we all
exactly.
know this. That's why I'm like, okay. So literally to
Yeah.
me, the only solution, and I am Delulu in my Salulu, and I will continue to stay that way for the rest of my life because I have to be delusional in what we can do. Shoot to the moon, you'll end up amongst the stars. That's how I feel because I have to. I cannot live in my fear. I cannot. The time is going to go by anyway. I can be scared or I can do something. And if all I'm doing is taking care of myself, I am making it that day.
Yeah.
And that's all we have. We just have today. Okay, I'm going to
And if
continue on. Oh, go
we
ahead,
don't show up
Evan.
for ourselves, we can't show up in the world in any kind of
Oh, for
meaningful way.
sure.
Yeah,
So yeah, if all you can do today is show up for you, you made it. And then if you can show
exactly.
up for somebody else, then like even better. Anywho, let's talk about how America's terrible again.
Okay. It is
So,
the worst.
we're going to talk about some fun stories that were made to like highlight unity and make us feel like united as this country and like woo. So, a lot of these stories, even immigration stories, give the illusion of a classless society. I feel like we all know somebody that's like, oh, I made it to America and now I'm a billionaire selling peanut butter or whatever they make up. Like there's that American dream. You can rags to riches yourself into anything. But these stories are a mask, literally, to continue our suffering and divisions because we're all like, okay, I'm suffering now, but I can always get better. And the reality of the system, especially right now, is that that is not the case. We do not talk about class and we do not talk about race because it's impolite. I'm from the South. We're always polite. Even if you're being racist as fuck, we're still polite about it. And they're not supposed, well, unless you're, you know, I feel like the Southerners are really like sugary, sweet, and fake, or they're trying to kill you. Like there's no middle ground. There's, yeah. I mean, I grew up in Arkansas, so it do be that way. I don't know if you felt that way, Christina, but it do be.
No, no, yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
As people of color in Arkansas, yeah. I mean, like Northwest Arkansas is okay, but if you leave the area, not good.
It's
And even
yeah.
Northwest Arkansas, it's there, but a little more hidden. Yeah. So why did people come to America? Wait. Oh, wait. I was asking you guys those questions. I didn't mean to say wait.
That wasn't rhetorical.
Oh, wait. Evan can't answer. Christina, why did people come to America?
For the American dream,
Yeah.
opportunity.
Also, religious freedom. I don't know if you remember like colonial,
Oh,
like remember when
mm-hmm.
they were like the pilgrims were really being bullied, so they sent them away. Um, so after the 1630s, less than half the people came to Massachusetts for religious reasons. So they promote it like everyone was coming because they were being prosecuted in the for being Protestant, but really it wasn't that many. Okay. So the pilgrims. They were celebrated at Thanksgiving, a story that didn't really exist like in the same capacity until the Civil War. And then it was later associated with turkeys to promote the struggling poultry industry because capitalism.
That's the only reason why turkeys are a big thing.
Well, they were like a national, like they're a
Yeah.
native to America bird. So they were like, birds are good. Let's pick one that lives here.
Did
So
FDR do that?
yeah, let me cover this. Give me a paragraph. According to the National Archives, the first Thanksgiving was a peaceful time between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag, but this story is according to the Pilgrims.
Yeah,
They
So
did not
they're
ask the native people because
unbelievable.
eventually war would erupt between these two, and the Wampanoag people would lose their political independence and their territory
ugh,
because colonialism.
they said, I don't looking like you.
Hmm. And they killed them. Thanksgiving was
Oh,
originally only a regionally celebrated holiday in colonial New England, but it was a day of fasting and reflection. Turkeys were associated because they were an American bird, but it wasn't until the mid 19th century, so the 1800s, when a writer named Sarah Josepha Hale wrote an entire chapter on Thanksgiving celebrations and then wrote articles in her magazine to help sway the public and politicians towards creating a national holiday. So she went on her own propaganda spree to be like, this is what we should do. So before this, they had been trying to make like many different politicians were making a Thanksgiving, giving thanks holiday, but it wasn't until President Abraham Lincoln issued a Thanksgiving Day proclamation in 1863 that it was like an official holiday. And he did it during that time because the country was going through a lot of division, literally. And he was just trying to give people, like, let's give thanks. Let's give us a little something, something. And he was also the first to set the precedent of celebrating the last Thursday of November as the day of Thanksgiving until President Franklin Roosevelt changed it to the second to last day in November, Thursday in November, because he was worried it would negatively affect the shopping season. So once again, capitalism. How fun.
You know, the one thing normally I would agree completely and be like, fuck capitalism. But FDR was
Oh no, I trust
pulling,
FDR.
the country out.
No, it's more capitalism. But yes, no, in specifically that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But see, this is why Evan's on the show because I don't know what's happening half the time. At this point, I've drank half of this box wine. I'm just following my notes. This is why we keep Evan on the team. Anyway,
Yay.
but that's true though. Like that makes, and I was just thinking about that too. I was like, wow, FDR had to, like, he had no other option. He's like, we need to make more money, guys. Anything
Yeah.
that's less money is going to kill everyone. But you know what? That's a president looking out for the people.
Exactly.
Those are
Yeah, it
snaps
was
for
like a
FDR.
stimulus.
See? Christina, we're all learning something. Love
Learning
it.
everything.
Christina, shut up. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Pocahontas. So, John Smith was a white man, suspicious already.
Was he real? Like he was
He
real? Okay.
was a real guy. So, if you watch Pocahontas, if you were a 90s child, you've watched Pocahontas, and she's like, Colors of the Wind, raccoon. She's just trying to figure out who she is, and then a man shows up with his colonizer friends, and then she has to save him because her family's gonna kill him. And then he's like shot, and then he's like, I'm going back to Britain. Love you, baby girl. And then he leaves. That's the movie. Um, Historically, we don't know if this rescue actually happened because John Smith was an adventurer who liked to promote himself in stories because he was trying to sell his book. But we've all met a 6 foot man who was your height and you're 5'2", and you're like, mm-hmm. I'm not saying a lot of men exaggerate, but mm-hmm.
I mean,
Who doesn't?
most. Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
ones who are like, yeah, I'm 6 feet.
Yeah, I'm
It's
6 foot.
always
Every
them.
single man that has been 6 foot is not. I'm like start
Exactly.
carrying a yard measuring tape. I was gonna say yardstick, but that feels
I mean,
really
violent.
impractical.
Uh,
So the thing that makes people suspicious is that this rescue story was very similar to a Scottish ballad at the time, where the daughter of a Turkish prince rescues an English adventurer, which I think is suspicious. But Pocahontas was a real person and she was born around 1596. Her name was actually Amonute, with some of her closest friends calling her Matoka. Pocahontas was actually her mother's name. But she was 10 years old when John Smith showed up. Creep. He was
10.
27 years old.
And she was how old?
10.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. He was a 27-year-old man who romanticized this story to sell more books.
Oh,
But they were
disgusting.
never actually together. And this is the part that makes me sad. She did marry Kocoum at 14. It really broke my heart because I'm so pissed because then like for the rest of history, he's known as the villain. Like everyone gets mad at Kocoum for not minding his business. And then he
Yeah.
gets like, you know what I
Fuck you,
mean?
Disney.
Yeah, exactly. They made him the bad guy. Like, okay, maybe not the bad guy, but y'all know what I mean because it's like,
But
God,
they
Coco,
made
she
him
doesn't
seem,
want you.
yeah, and
Mind your
they made him
business.
seem jealous, and that is
He was her husband. And at 14, she gave birth to their son, little Cocoam.
oh, stop.
It gets sadder. The English
14.
captain, Samuel Argall, took Pocahontas. He just took her. And okay, so he took her and then threatened the village. So obviously they're not going to go rescue her because he's already threatened the village and he gave them a copper pot and basically told this his story was that he gave him a pot and paid for her. And he's like,
Stop.
we made a trade. But he took her and threatened their home, their family, like their people.
Yeah, he kidnapped her.
Exactly. And they murdered Cocoa. So
Stop.
so she was captive in Jamestown and had a second son during her captivity because she was raped. And she married John Rolfe, an Englishman. And John Rolfe married her not because he loved her, but because if you watch Pocahontas 2, that's what happens. He's like, oh my God, Pocahontas, you're so cute. Let's get married. Let's go watch this bear get assaulted. I don't know. It's a weird movie if you haven't watched Pocahontas 2. So none of that was real. It was all a lie. He married her because her dad knew all these secrets to growing tobacco, and he wanted the secrets because he was under financial strain and wanted to forge an alliance with her dad.
Of course, it's always for selfish
So that
reasons.
was the motive for the whole thing.
Yeah, because he wanted to know how to grow tobacco.
And he
So he,
chose violence.
yeah, he married her and he made her wear English clothes, which ew, and made her become a Christian and renamed her Rebecca. And this is really sad. Chief Powhatan did not go to the wedding because he was worried he would also get kidnapped. And he never saw his daughter again. He just sent her a pearl necklace as a gift, and that was it. So John Rolfe took Pocahontas on a tour of England. And before she left on this tour, she was fine. But then she became sick and died before they were able to come back to America, and she was only 21. The men that were with her, like her guards that were sent to protect her, think that she was murdered. That's what their story was, that they thought she got killed.
By who?
Like I think that they were done with her. And it makes me so sad. Like she just was literally minding her business. Literally just doing her own thing. And then she was kidnapped and taken, and who knows what happened to her son. Zzz.
Yeah.
I think when most of us think of America, we picture the hot dogs and the stars and the stripes and the white picket fence, and we rarely think of class because in the land of the free, anyone can end up a billionaire. And according to the myths of America's creation, we left Britain and completely changed the game. And so now, like, which I think is so stupid not to think about now. Like, what do you mean we left Britain and like all thoughts of class were just down the drain? We just ignored all that. Like, we were still the same people.
Mhm.
So now your parents and social class don't matter because in the land of opportunity, you get to find your own version of happiness and do whatever you want and still survive. And America presented itself and has continued to do so as the vision of how a modern republic might work when people are able to move amongst the different social classes. But the truth was that the British had their own agenda when it came to the American colonies, and that agenda would end up influencing the way that we continue to function. They wanted to decrease poverty in England, and what better way to do it than to transport those who were idle and unproductive to the New World? How do you get rid of trash? You throw it out. So you send it to the other part of the world. And at the same time, Britain would be able to exploit the natural goods of the colonies through the use of unfree laborers through the form of slaves and indentured servants, as well as children. By the 18th century, the lower class, the population of the poor, became a permanent part in society and were throughout most stages of time considered irreparable, incurable breed of people separate from the rest of the classes. Because I think a lot of us do look at homeless people, let's be real, as like the other. This is who you don't want to be. Even if you don't actively think that in your brain, that is the fear that we all live with. That fear that like that could be you, so you continue to work, you continue to like live in the hamster wheel because we don't have that other option. And if you have kids, you really don't have another option because you have people dependable on you. The people of the 1500s were mostly focused on exploiting this new world and sold the colonies as an opportunity to serve the old world and its interests. They literally were just coming here to like rape and pillage the earth and the people.
Yeah.
It was a large rubbish heap of materials for the taking, as well as a place where they could send the expendable people from England, a place to send the poor, prisoners, unwanted vagrants, beggars. They were sent to America to survive if they could and to serve English interests. Many of those first travelers would die from scurvy, starvation, and overall disease. They literally never tell you that. Like all the people that showed up died, like a
Yeah,
lot of them.
exactly.
By 1630, the class system was already being established amongst the colonies, and even church was seated by class.
Of
That's
course.
so fucked up.
I mean, of course they don't teach us that.
Yeah.
They don't want us to have class consciousness.
Exactly.
And they
The
don't want us to think poorly of,
ourselves.
yeah, and our country, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because You're always trying to defend
Mm.
the country. You're always trying to defend the, what is it called? The bad things the country has done. You know, you can't
Right.
acknowledge those. Like, how many people know about the fucking Japanese concentration camps? We're not
And
great people.
Italian. I
Yes,
mean,
like everyone.
yeah, it's
The poor are expendable. And the English believe that the poor would be reduced by four ways. And I feel like these are the ways that they're trying to control us in current, literally right now. Through food shortage,
Hmm.
starvation, disease, and crime. We're all
Yeah.
criminals. They're cutting down our insurance. They're cutting down our food stamps. They're cutting everything. So what are we left with? Joining the regime or fighting against it while starving your children.
Yeah. And that's the thing is we've depended on, I mean, everything that they've given us, right? At the convenience of things, right? Convenience of food, convenience of whatever that
Nobody knows how to survive.
people, no one knows. I mean, it's like, why do you think everyone now is trying to look up how to garden and how to build things and do things? Because if something happens, I mean, we
We
have
are
to be able to
completely
survive.
dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted out of us.
Exactly. And that's the thing is once you start seeing this, it's hard to not see it. And
Yeah.
it's hard to,
yeah,
we were literally talking about it before we started recording, like, it's hard to not see it in every single thing.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, but it's also like, you bitch, how
Yeah.
dare you do this to me? And I think it's that feeling that anger and using that anger to create the change you want to see and what you can do in your community is how we will change the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think community will change the world.
I think it will because America is not about community. America is
Mhm.
about me, for my benefit and pleasure. I will
Yeah.
not be inconvenienced for no man, but we will not go into that. Anyway, but y'all know you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that's the country. Everyone's for themselves. But that's how capitalism works. That's why I mean, we will cover this, but like that's why the nuclear family was created to
Yeah,
continue
yeah,
to
yeah.
segregate this into
Yep.
different little units because okay, so Christina, if we all live together, I could take care of your children. I could
Yeah.
support you in the way I could.
Mhm.
But because of capitalism, we all live in our own individual houses and ignore our neighbor. I can't do that for you. So now
Yeah.
you're stuck feeding into the system.
Right.
Like if you didn't have your mom,
Because I don't have a village. Yeah.
exactly. So we
Mm.
keep us separated into our separate little houses to keep the divisions, to keep the capitalism flowing, to keep the hamster wheel running. And that's how that works. And it's horrendous because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I'm sorry I've introduced this to you, but I'm also grateful because now you're going to see it and you're going to start seeing it everywhere. I
My
know you
heart
have to
is
tell me about it.
breaking,
It is heartbreaking. I've been
shattered.
pissed forever.
Yeah.
Why do you think I'm so
Yeah.
mad all the time? Okay, let me go keep going because we're almost done. But okay. So the ruling elites were over the house servants, and all of them were over the indentured slaves as well as native and African slaves. But typically during this time, like the real initial time, all the exploited population were children.
Um,
So Virginia was a colony known to be rowdy and undisciplined, and they called them manure. It was described as a military style labor camp, the state of Virginia, or the colony of Virginia. And it was meant to protect England's interest and the rich because they didn't care what happened to those people. So they literally just physically exploited them. They
They
were
did that with
expendable.
Georgia also.
Right. So, like, I feel like a lot of the southern states were like the way that slaves ended up being used, but indentured servants.
Yeah.
So they were expendable people.
Yes.
And the English believed that the poor would be, oh, yeah, that they were just going to basically starve them. So now they had an option to send them away. So now they have another way of getting rid of the poor. And so they're exploiting that method. Settlers who survived were seen as the fulfillment of the American promise. Like, oh my God, this guy made it. Guys, this guy made it. You ignore the other 40 people that died, but Joe made it. Woo, yay. And so then you can sell that story because we're all going to succeed and you ignore the people that died because then they can succeed and move up from nothing and you can continue to sell this propaganda to all the poor in the world, bring them here, make them work for you. There were various mixed populations that made it to the colonies. So, due to the labor shortages, they had captains round up children from the streets and sell them to planters across the ocean. The children were also shipped off for petty crimes. And one of the books highlighted, I think it's White Trash, highlighted the story of a little girl. Her name is Little Bess. She stole two spoons. So she was sent to America as a laborer.
Wow.
But also,
Oh
Bess, why are you
gosh.
stealing? Thief? Starvation? But also, like, what the hell are the kids supposed to do? They're just street children.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
What
just
is their option?
they're probably stealing so they could sell whatever they sold so they could buy food.
Exactly.
it's just
It's
crazy
almost
how
like children
like
shouldn't starve.
Yeah, exactly.
disposable, like how
People,
disposable the people are to it's literally like life doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it's
because
so
it
yeah,
literally doesn't.
yeah.
They do not care about us.
Because they're so poor, they have nothing to live for. They have yeah, and that's just so
Well,
crazy.
because a lot of us see it as failure.
Yeah.
So many, I mean, I know we all grew up with parents being like, yeah, if you do not go to school, work, X, Y,
This
Z,
is what you're
if
gonna
you do
end up
not,
as.
you're gonna be homeless, you're gonna be in prison, we have all these threats.
And like that shouldn't be the
Other
case to a
countries don't work
child.
like this.
Yeah.
So, you know what shocked me? I know someone from Sweden, and they were telling me that they get a year of paid maternal leave after they have a child.
I believe it. I
And
think
it's like,
Finland is like that or something
yeah, all the good
too.
countries are like that. The great countries are like that. You know
Yeah.
who isn't like that? Us.
Yes. Because we're
So
greedy.
I know we're bad people.
I mean, I'm sure
Well,
there's
and we
other
also
countries that
have
are
the
greedy
highest
too,
number.
but
We have the highest number of billionaires in any other country.
And that's the problem is the
yeah.
distribution of wealth.
Well, okay,
Hmm.
that's how they were able to do it, though. We made this system, and we will cover it because Evan is here.
But it's crazy how like they make things seem unobtainable, but then it's like if you talk to a billionaire, right? Like there's a guy on TikTok that I follow, and that's what his whole channel is he goes around and he interviews billionaires, multimillionaires, whatever you want to call them, and he asks them just for advice, right? And a lot of it is just honestly, it's just smarts. It's smarts. It's learning how to work the system for your
Mhm.
benefit, right?
Okay,
But
right, but then they don't tell you about their one connection
right,
with X billion dollars that just gave you a $40,000 loan, that gave you X, that gave you Y.
right,
They don't tell you that they also know how to play that game.
right.
And they were
And so
just born in the
everyone's
right situation.
well, and everyone sits here and they think like, oh, like I just need, I just need to think of a product and I just need to sell it to the right people, or I just need to
Exactly.
do this, that, and the other thing. But it's like also like like you said, no one tells you about the hardships of it, right? I'm gonna be putting my house, my mortgage on the line to make this business come about. Or because it's not as easy as being like, oh, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna sell it to this people, then they're gonna tell this people, and then it's just gonna flow. It doesn't
See,
work
it
like
doesn't
that.
work that
In a
way
picture perfect
because
world,
everything
yeah.
has a monopoly. And then
Yep.
it's not just, that's the thing. It's not just you, one fish swimming in a bowl. It is like these
Hmm.
giant sharks keeping us down and
Well, and then
hidden.
what also do billionaires and stuff do? Invest. But guess what? They have to get to a point where they can do that. And then now that they can do that, it's easy work, right? But it's
Because they're
like you
not
said,
doing
because they're not
anything.
doing anything except
I read a thing that was like, we should have all watched Undercover Boss, watched that they couldn't fucking do the job they're paying everyone do minimum wage to do, and
Mhm.
then been like, wait a minute, why are they making the big bucks? They can't even flip a burger.
Honestly.
I don't know. I had a lot of feelings about exploitation.
Yeah.
So there were the bottom classes. They were men and women who were poor, vagrants, Irish rebels, known whores, and convicts. And then under them, the indentured servants and the street people, those who owned money, or those who were like, hold on. So, okay, the indentured servants were the street people, just people like of the streets, and those who also own money who were like, those are the ones you hear about that paid, they didn't want to pay their way to America. They couldn't afford to pay their way to America. So they were like, I will work X amount of
Mhm.
years in order to get for the passage. But then
Yeah,
they
and then
get
they got exploited terribly.
yes, because they give you a house, but then you owe the house to the company and then also it has like 400% interest.
Interest,
Yes, and so
kind
you
of like
never out of
student
date.
loans.
Oh wow, crazy.
Damn, yeah.
Shocking. So many adults and fatherless boys would sell themselves to indentured servitude, so their passage was paid, and in return they worked 4 to 9 years of hard labor. Some people didn't go to the colonies for religious freedom, and some just went to leave bad reputations and economic failures. That's sad. Imagine being like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go to the new place because I fucked up so bad. My bad.
Across the world.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about slavery, and we will continue to do so because that has built this country. So slaves were also transported from Africa and the Caribbean to the colonies. British government had encouraged the slave trade and had granted a monopoly to the Company of Royal Adventurers in 1663. Once that monopoly ended, the colonies were able to bargain down the prices and purchase people directly from Africa and the Caribbean. In 1619, colonies wanted to refine the distinctions between who would be enslaved for life, so black people, and who would not. Colonial laws gave indentured servants from England and Ireland more rights than African indentured servants of that time. Europeans were Christian, so they were exempt from lifelong enslavement. But indigenous and African people were not Christian, so obviously they deserved less rights.
Uh,
They literally categorized them as black versus white, and this is really honestly one of the beginnings of our division. And we in the next episode we will cover the differences of American slavery. And if you guys want to get a jump start on that one, it's the book Caste. Hold on, I'm pretty sure it's Isabel Wilkerson, but I don't want to lie, so let me grab the book. These are the books, by the way. Look how thick they are. This is
yeah.
white trash. It's not super thick, but like it's a tall book. And yes, the book Cast by Isabel Wilkerson really covers like the differences of American slavery. You know, I honestly, we've all heard that one devil's advocate like African people had slavery too. We just were trading amongst people, and it's a different type of slavery. We perfected the game in the worst way, is how I'm going to
Oh.
describe it. Because America is excellent at one thing, exploiting people.
And speaking of, we were talking about curriculum earlier. My
Mm.
mom was a teacher in Texas for 20 years, and probably around 2013, 2014, she would teach American history. She taught fourth grade, and fifth grade. And the wording in their textbook changed from the transatlantic slave trade to a migration pattern.
Stop.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how it's been taught in Texas. My mom's like refused to do it. She was like, I cannot willingly. I can't.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, why do they not want us to talk about this to the children?
Because they're
Why are you
trying to
ashamed?
brainwash. It's the same reason they've
Exactly.
tried to get the Holocaust written out of books.
So
And
that's why we have to talk about it.
exactly.
That's how I feel about it. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's so terrible. I told you, it's just the whole thing is just horrendous. So, Let me think let me find my spot. Okay, so once the monopoly ended, the colonies were able to just, wholesale people. And in 1619, the colonies began to refine the distinctions between who would be enslaved for life. Yes, yeah, that's where I was. So indigenous and African people were not Christian, so they deserve less rights. Once again, Christianity coming in clutch for the white people, colonization. They literally categorized them as black and white. Yes, this was the beginning of creating otherness amongst the poor people. Of course, this system started in the South. Shocking. Then it spread amongst the colonies. This was the beginning of many small divisions that would be created over and over again. It was like the continuous reiteration of otherness with people of color and white people. When African people converted to Christianity in effort to participate in society, European colonists felt like they would be missing out on their ability to extract the most wealth from the New World, so they were like, no.
Wow.
They were like, we have FOMO. We don't want to lose out on this. So fuck you, different people. Otherness. We're going to change the laws. The reason African workers were so popular in the first place was because the saw them as civilized and docile. And they were also mostly immune to European diseases. So they weren't dying like the native indigenous people they kept trying to make slaves. So okay, and then it gets worse. The Chesapeake Bay colonies were faltering and they needed workers to help with the tobacco. The areas of the southern colonies that were way better at growing sugarcane ice or rice, not ice, cotton. Like, okay, so you have these crops that are like really good in this space, but British people don't have any experience with them. But the people of Africa were able to understand them because it was like they were of a similar hot-natured area, or they had had some experience with them. So they were able to save these Chesapeake Bay fucking colonies. So without the people of Africa, these crops would have failed and financially the colonies would have failed. When do you hear that in American history?
Yeah, never.
We ignore the contribution of Black people to this country and
Mhm.
continue this horrendous propaganda of like demonizing everyone against people of color, especially Black people.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and it makes it honestly, when I read this, I was pissed because I was like, dude, without Black people, we would not have anything.
And
And still,
slaves were used to build Wall Street too.
this part pissed me off. When European indentured servants escaped their enslavement, they were able to blend in amongst the other general white populations. But guess who couldn't do that? The Black people. So they didn't have that luxury. So you could look out into a crowd, be like, yeah, that black guy doesn't belong. He obviously belongs to somebody. Let's make sure he goes where he belongs. Isn't that the most fucked up shit? I was pissed. I'm currently angry.
That
And
was
I drank the whole
ridiculous.
box of wine. So, oops. The insurrections caused the English to seek to replace this source of labor with another source, African slaves. They couldn't enslave the indigenous people because there were too many of them and they kept dying. So the natives were exiled and we kept pushing them away. And we picked people that we could continuously exploit, I guess, and began the class system in America. The foundation of America's economic and social order is slavery. Slavery became part of everyday activity, with the selling of slaves happening even outside the capital. Also, if you want to hear about how slavery continued on in America, the documentary 13 that was on Netflix was phenomenal. The slavery of America was an innovation. It was a new type of system created by the elites to benefit the elites. It was therefore enforced by the poorer members of the dominant class, white people. In America, every white man is a lord because submission is required of the slave, not just the will of the master, but all the will of white people. This was literally a law at that time. We like to pretend that slavery was just a thing that happened in America, but it built this country. And these race relations come into play throughout the everyday of America's existence through policies, law, prison system, economics, and everyday interactions. So those are all the thoughts I'm going to leave you guys with today. That's the end of my ranting. But hopefully we'll have a part two very soon. And I'm just going to ask my two friends that are here with me right now. But if you have your thoughts, send them to me. What did y'all think?
I'm
Any
already
feelings, thoughts?
sad
You're welcome.
and like
I've been,
angry.
I'm
I am
pissed
slightly
off.
aggravated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed. It's
I am
nothing I
slightly
haven't
aggravated. Aggravated.
aggravated. It's
Y'all, this
just,
this box wine is 3.5 glasses. Where did Evan go?
Oh no.
Oh, we lost her.
That is just wild. It's just wild. I mean, like I knew what I was coming into, like as far as like, you know what I mean? Like now that we're talking about it, like I know where we're going with the conversation and like I know where it's headed and stuff, but I think it's just one of those things, kind of like what you said, like um it's I don't know, what am I supposed to say? Like, or what am I trying to say? Like it's like kind of like what we touched on, where it's like people are just like either just like living in delusion or, and I think that's the one thing is like, I don't want to say that I've been like living in delusion, right?
Well,
But
how do you know
I,
what you don't know?
right. And I just like, it's one of those things where it's like, I knew where this is going and I knew I wasn't going to like it. But that's the facts. That's what it is. And you have to come to terms with it regardless if you agree with it or not, you know what I mean? And it is,
It's so hard.
yeah,
I mean, honestly, I've had a long time to digest a lot of this information and like it's so hurtful. I don't know how to explain it. Like
yeah,
because you want the best for your people. Like, and I've had a lot of conversations with people that like they're like, I'm just gonna run away. And it's like, I can't. These are my people. This is my home.
yeah,
And I do not in any way feel like people that are going other places is the wrong move. You do what is best for you in every way.
yeah,
And you got
yeah,
to take yourself and your situation into account. And whatever that situation is, work with that, But like
yeah.
for me, I don't have children. I am just me being me. And my husband said he's got bail money supposedly set aside for me because I am who I am.
Hmm.
I'm a loud woman. Oh, Evan told me what happened. The computer died.
Oh, she's back.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, it is a good education piece, and even talking about what's happened.
We
I mean, kind of like you
need,
said, the building blocks of America, like what built it to what it is now, and how they're trying to uphold that. You know what I mean? And they
I'm
call
gonna
it
tell you
progression or whatever they want to do, but it's
the I pray. I'm not a religious person, but I have a very strong connection with like Mary, and I feel very like close with like Mother Mary, Jesus's mom.
hmm.
And yeah, I'm an oversharer, by the way. If nobody knew this about the podcast, I'm 100% an oversharer. But the only thing I could think during the ice raids was like, we can't keep doing this. Something has to give. And hate is not the answer.
I a
And
hundred percent.
ignoring this. And I think honestly, this is hard information, but like taking it in and feeling very like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, take it in and realize that we're all a victim to this system and that the only enemy we have are the like 8 people that own this country.
Yeah,
Not my black neighbor, not my extra like racist white neighbor, not whatever. It is literally just like 8 people.
No, I mean,
And
that's
they're
what I
all
tell Zach.
pedophiles and they're all scared of having their name out there. That is
I mean,
exactly what's happening right
I
now.
tell him all the time, I'm like, president is just a puppet. And they just utilize him. He's the face. He's essentially the spokesperson. And they just puppeteer him. And he's the one that has to get all the flack. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or,
It's
bigger
because we
picture.
need to blame somebody, and that's the fall guy.
And that person is okay with being that.
Yep.
They're okay with being the scapegoat. They're okay with
Apparently so, because they're really that scared of the Epstein list getting out.
yeah.
So, okay, Evan, any thoughts?
No, it's just sad and infuriating that's those are the roots of our country, like the foundation of the country as we
I mean,
know
and
it.
that's even like before it was even a country. This was like the
Exactly.
roots of what we built. And how did I not know most of this information? They're all
Yeah.
just like, they just had turkey together. It was beautiful. And it was like, ignore the fact that we like raped and pillaged them and destroyed their community and then
Well, because we
continued.
got taught that story that writer told and published in all of those newspapers or magazines you were just talking about. Like
Hmm.
we got sold that fiction, that piece of fiction.
Well,
Exactly.
and also the whole like land of the free because of the brave, and yet we still treat our veterans and
Like
people in the
shit.
military like shit. I mean, I'm sure Evan has told you, even Zach has told me firsthand, like he's like, it's not glorified. He was like, the most I get is people thanking me for my service, and like
Yeah.
what you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And we treat our veterans like shit. We literally do because everyone I know that's worked for the VA has been like, it's hell.
yeah.
No one is like, it's the funnest place to work. Okay, so now that we're all angry, I'm just going to remind everyone that I've decided to do community circles and I will be posting those on Instagram when I get to it, but it will probably be next week. I'm thinking the third week of every month, the third Saturday of every month to keep it consistent. But anyway, I will be posting that information either on both Instagram and Facebook. If there's a social media that works better for you, please let me know. I will do whatever I can to help. If you want a personalized text message, I will also send you that. That's okay too. I literally don't care. WhatsApp group, whatever works. I want to get the information wherever it goes. But we will, be here with a new episode to make you angry. But also we're on Instagram and Facebook at sipandsaga_society, or we have a website, sipandsaga.com. We're able to be found on Apple, YouTube, and what's the other one? Spotify as Sip and Saga Society. As always, thank you so much for joining us on this horrendous episode. If you have any histories, mysteries, or stories that you think you should be, oh my God, I know how to do this, that you think should be told, feel free to DM us on Instagram or Facebook. So, bye.
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 Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.